later this afternoon. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is February 24th. It's hard to believe. I know I've been saying this for the last couple of days, but how did we get to the end of February already? I'm just excited because spring is right around the corner. I can feel it. The sun's out. It's warming up. I think it's going to cool down a little bit, maybe the rest of the week here. But you know what? It doesn't matter because it's still beautiful. So let's start off with our daily pledge. Today is a new day. I am ready to be the best me I can be. I will listen so I can learn. I will try hard so my brain can grow. I will not give up. I can learn anything I put my mind to. So this week I've been filling you up with challenges. It's a new week. You can learn anything you put your mind to. Your challenge has been to try something that you told yourself you cannot do. All right. And yesterday, your goal was to write down every way that you can see that you have been self-sabotaging. Remember the sabotage button? I got to find it now. Don't push the sabotage button. Remember, we're working on our goals and improving ourselves and feeling better, and don't push the self-sabotage button. So I'm hoping this week you guys have been mindful of those things. I'm hoping that you've maybe tried something that you told yourself you can't do, and that you've at least been mindful of the fact that you are doing some self-sabotaging things that's preventing you from being the most successful that you can be. So how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Did you wake up feeling great? If so, that's awesome. Go with it. Do that. Use all that energy and apply it to your day. But if you didn't wake up feeling so hot, what can you do to help yourself? Get out your toolbox and your tool bag every day. We have lots of different ways that you can start to help yourself feel better. Remember, if you need to put it on a Post-it note, maybe you take notes when we're talking in the morning. Write them down. Put them in your little toolbox or your tool bag. Remember all of these things. Maybe you need the worksheets. But whatever it is, we're trying to fill up our toolkit with as many things as we can to have good coping skills, to manage our mental health, manage our physical health, and feel better. But today is all about eating disorders. Like I said, I read it on NAMI last night that this week is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. And so it was fitting since today was Wellness Wednesday. Now, I'm not going to go into all the different types of eating disorders. Mostly, I just want to bring some awareness to you and kind of where this stems from and what we can do about that, okay? So I'm going to read you a little something that I printed off. It says, we live in an image-conscious culture which urges all of us, especially women, to improve our appearance. The messages sent by magazines, TV, and other media include buy certain clothes and products, straighten and whiten your teeth, get rid of your wrinkles, and most commonly, lose weight and you'll be happy, admired, and loved. The recent and reoccurring debate concerning the unhealthy stick-thin models used in the fashion industry is a perfect example of how strongly entrenched our notion as thin equals happiness has become. We know that's not true. We know that just because we are super thin, it doesn't mean people are happy. Most of the time what happens for any type of body type that you have, I think for the most part, we can still be unhappy, right? We know that. And so it's not about necessarily eating and dieting and all that stuff. It's about filling up our cup. It's about body image. It's about feeling good with who we are. That's kind of the pot and the kettle when I tell you that. Although many of us would benefit from eating a bit less and exercising more in order to improve our health and fitness, simply watching what you eat is not an eating disorder. Eating disorders are potentially life-threatening illnesses, okay? They are characterized by a range of abnormal and harmful eating habits, which is motivated by unhealthy beliefs, perceptions, and expectations concerning eating and body shape. Okay, we don't want to do that. First, if you have any sort of eating disorder, you're not alone. It says between 5 and 10 million Americans have anorexia or bulimia, and 25 million suffer from binge eating. Okay, and so we're going to go a little bit over that, but it's just interesting. We live in a society where thinner is better, and what you wear matters, and how you are matters, but nobody emphasizes the importance of who you are, loving yourself, embracing just the characteristics that make you who you are. We've been talking a little bit about this week. It's interesting as the middle schoolers here in Alexandria go back to school. I had an interesting conversation with my daughter last night. It's too bad that at such a young age, there is just so many factors to feeling good enough about who you are. And I know that's true. We've all dealt with it in our life, but it's just, it continually progresses, I guess is what I'm saying. And so it's important to be able to identify who we are and be okay with that. And if people around us don't like it, they're not meant to be in our life. But that's a whole nother spiel. Okay, so eating disorders, here's some facts. Every 62 minutes, someone dies from an eating disorder. That's terrible. 0.9% of American women suffer from anorexia. Well, that's where you pretty much starve yourself to death, okay? You end up becoming bones. 1.5% of American women suffer from bulimia. Now, I say this, and I think there's a lot of women statistics, but men also suffer from eating disorders. Men also suffer from negative body perceptions, which causes them a lot of depression and anxiety as well, okay? What can happen, though, is I think, and maybe I'm wrong, this is just my perception, I think some men become extremely overweight because they get depressed and they stop moving and stop doing and stop caring, because men don't necessarily sit down and share with you how they're feeling. They stuff it. And what do we do when we're trying to stuff our feelings? Okay, we're going to get to that. I'm getting off topic. What we eat, we binge eat. But men also are susceptible to eating disorders. Okay, so that's on here. 30 million Americans will suffer from an eating disorder regardless of their gender. 30 million Americans. The perception is so engraved in our brain about looking a certain way that 30 million Americans will suffer from an eating disorder. Eating disorders are classified as mental illnesses and are often used as a coping mechanism. That is so true. How you feel mentally and physically, emotionally affects your eating. We know that. I know that. You should know that. Eating disorders are treatable. Only about 33% of people receive treatment. The first step is asking for help from a trusted adult or a doctor. So why do eating disorders happen? Why do they happen? I think we know the answer to this, but let's go over that. First and foremost, eating disorders happens because of trauma. In many cases, eating disorder is a method used to attempt to control emotions. So whether it's not eating or overeating or whatever it may be, it's an attempt to control our emotions. These emotions often stem from traumatic experiences which happened throughout childhood. Traumatic experiences may include sexual abuse, neglect, witnessing horrific events, abuse, neglect, I just said that, or living through a natural disaster. So trauma triggers eating disorders. It's a way for us to feel better. We want that instant gratification. We will use food or withhold food to try and feel something, okay? Body image. Most individuals diagnosed with an eating disorder have a very low self-esteem. And so the negative self-image may increase a person's chances of developing an eating disorder. I would say more often than not, many of us, if not all of us, probably have some form of eating disorder because we're not eating right and we're using food as a way to control something in our life. Genetics. Studies have shown that individuals diagnosed with an eating disorder usually have lower dopamine levels. Lower dopamine levels may be genetic, and so it runs through family members, okay? And last but not least, how we have an eating disorder. It's co-occurring mental health issues. The majority, almost 80% of individuals who seek help with an eating disorder receive diagnoses of a co-occurring mental health condition, such as PTSD, depression, generalized anxiety, OCD, bipolar disorder, phobias, and substance abuse disorder. So many folks that also have an eating disorder also have a co-occurring mental health diagnosis. Like I said, it doesn't really surprise me. PTSD is that trauma, depression, anxiety. We are trying to fill up our cup, okay? We are trying to control something in our life because we don't feel good with who we are. So I like this. Hold on, I'm going to back up. This was interesting. Recovery from an eating disorder. First and foremost, we have to talk about our body image. I'll get to that in a second, but I liked this little worksheet. It said recovery. It goes down, spelling out recovery. It's realizing that you are worth it, experiencing true happiness, caring about yourself, overcoming your own demons, validating your worth, eating without regret. A relapse is going to happen and it's inevitable, but it's okay. And we have to yearn to live, to take care of ourselves. Most importantly, if you're experiencing some sort of eating disorder or issues with your body image, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I am worth it. Anything that I want to do, I need to get rid of any sort of past trauma. You can't get rid of it, but you learn to heal from it. You learn to accept it and move on from it. You have to heal your past demons. You have to want happiness, and you have to believe that you are worth it. So I like that little worksheet of recovery. So let's talk about body image, okay? We talk about eating disorders, and we're trying to control something in our life, but most importantly, we feel bad about ourselves and our body image, primarily because somebody has either told us we don't look good, or we've watched too much TV and read too many magazines that said, if you don't look and dress this certain way, then you aren't good enough. And that is not true. So body image is how you see yourself when you look in the mirror, okay? Picturing yourself in your mind. What you believe about your own appearance, okay? So that's body image, is what you believe about your appearance, how you feel about your body, and your sense of control as your body moves. So negative body image is a distorted perception of your shape, a perceived parts of your body unlike they really are. So part of that negative perception of yourself is when you look in the mirror and you see something that's not there, because you've told yourself that you don't look good and that you're not good enough. But that's not actually what's going on. That's not your actual appearance. You feel ashamed and self-conscious, and you feel uncomfortable and awkward in your own body. So that's a negative self-image, and we need to try and move away from that. Obviously, we don't have enough time to talk about that today, but what's a positive self-image of you, okay? A positive body image is a clear and true perception of your shape, being able to see yourself for who you are, okay? Take off your negative goggles and see yourself for who you truly are. You celebrate and appreciate your true natural body shape and understand that a person's physical appearance says very little about their character, okay? Just because you may think you look a certain way or because you look differently than anybody else, that doesn't mean that's who you are. People don't judge a book by its cover, right? Just because a certain body image, a person has a certain body image, you don't know who they truly are as a person. A positive body image is you feel proud and accepting of your unique body, and you refuse to spend any unreasonable amount of time worrying about food, weight, and calories. Could you imagine living in a world? No, I don't know about you guys. I do this myself, and so I can admit that. Spending like no time worrying about food and exercise and calories and trying to look a certain way. Again, that comes with body image and being okay with who you are. You feel comfortable, confident, and you're proud. So that's what we're all striving for. To feel good about ourselves, we're going to feel comfortable, confident, and proud of our body. All right, we can do that. Accept yourself, accept your body, celebrate yourself, and celebrate your body. I like that. We can get there. We just have to do it. You know, something that we always talk about around here as we finish up is filling up your cup. Body image and eating disorders play hand in hand with so many different types of mental health disorders, right? And normally we are using food and we're anxious. We're trying to control certain things. It's just not adding up. It's very negative, right? And so we need to fill up our cup, and we talk about this time and time again. What are you doing to fill yourself up inside? What positive affirmations are you telling yourself? What positive activities are you doing? Are you journaling? Are you using your coping skills? Are you meeting up with friends? How are you filling up your cup? If you're filling up your cup with hurt, anger, fear, guilt, that's not filling up your cup. That is depleting your cup. That is making it drain, a very fast drain. And before you know it, you're at the bottom of the tank. You feel awful about yourself. You're very negative. You may have developed even more eating issues and more negative body issues, okay? So you have to get rid of those emotionally numbing activities. You have to get rid of that irritability and that sense of needing control or physical complaints and depressed mood. You have to fill up your cup with positive things. Remember, we did a worksheet a long time ago with checks and balances, okay? Whatever you take out of your checking account, with whatever you withdraw, you have to deposit back in, all right? So if you're taking stuff out and being negative, you have to turn around and you have to deposit some positive back in there. You have to fill up your cup. You have to figure out ways to bring happiness to yourself, whether that's music or a walk, going out into nature, visiting with a friend, figuring out some ways to increase your socialization. I don't know what it is, but there are many different ways that we can fill ourselves up, and that's kind of the root. I feel that's the kind of the root to working on improving any sort of bad eating habits, or negative self-images, is that we have to be comfortable with who we are and fill up our cup and be happy. So that's your goal, okay? Take a good look at yourself. Look in the mirror. Okay, write down what you're thinking. It might be bad, I get it. Look in the mirror, write down what you're thinking. And then I want you to look at that list and I want you to honestly tell yourself, I want you to find that evidence of where you think that you look a certain way. I want you to look at all the negative comments, if you do have some, and I want you to really figure out, like, what's the evidence behind all of this? And then I want you to cross every single one of them out. And I want you to write at least 2 things below it that are positive about yourself. It may take time and it might be difficult, but I want you to cross out all of those negative thoughts and I want you to write down 2 behind it, okay? And figure out ways that you're going to fill up your cup. Remind yourself from here on out, for every negative comment you say, you need to follow that up with 2 positive ones, okay? Can you do it? That's the way that we're going to continue to change our body image, change our thinking, fill up our cup. So for every negative that you say, you have to back it up with 2 positive. Fill up your cup, okay? So for the rest of the week, again, I challenge you to continue to try and do things that you told yourself you can't do. I want you to try and think about the ways that you self-sabotage and change it. And I want you to work on, for every negative, 2 positives. Look in the mirror, write down what you're thinking, cross it all out, and write down some positive things, okay? We really focus this week on changing your thinking and encouraging positive things. Get rid of all that stinking thinking and focus on ways that you can fill up your cup and be happy. So, have an amazing rest of your week. I hope that you can get outside and enjoy this fresh air. Get your 3 meals a day. Focus on your sleep. Focus on drinking your water, taking care of yourself. And I will see you Monday morning.